For nothing is evil in the beginning, even Sauron was not so. In the concealed depths of Middle-earth, where the light of the two trees never reached, a malevolent force took shape, a darkness that would shape the destiny of all who dwelled within its lands. From the ancient halls of Angband to the towering spires of Barad-dûr, two dark figures rose to power, Morgoth, the first Dark Lord, and Sauron, his most loyal disciple. Their names became whispers of fear, their deeds etched in blood, and their legacies a stain upon the history of Arda. But even the mightiest fall, and with them their empires of shadow. Join us as we journey through the rise and fall of Middle-earth's most feared villains, the Dark Lords. In the beginning, Middle-earth was a land of light and harmony, shaped by the divine music of the Ainur under the guidance of Eru Ilúvatar. Yet even in these earliest days, a shadow lurked, a shadow born from the discord of a single rebellious spirit, Melkor. His insatiable desire for power led him to stray from the harmonious design of creation, and in his defiance he became the embodiment of darkness. Melkor, later known as Morgoth, brought forth a corruption that twisted the essence of life itself, spreading a shadow across Middle-earth. This darkness was not merely physical, it was a spiritual blight that sought to dominate and control all life. Morgoth's ambition did not stop at merely corrupting the world. He aimed to bend every living thing to his will. His was a darkness that thrived on domination, a hunger for power that knew no bounds. Among those drawn to his cause was Sauron, who would rise to become his most loyal and dangerous lieutenant. Sauron's tale, however, is a story for another time. The First Age of Middle-earth was an era overshadowed by Morgoth, whose power and malice knew no limits. After his rebellion against the Valar, he established his dominion in the northern reaches, fortifying his stronghold in Angband. From this dark citadel, Morgoth unleashed a reign of terror that would bring immense suffering to the lands of Beleriand and beyond. Morgoth's greed was epitomized by his desire for the Silmarils, the radiant jewels crafted by Feanor. To seize these jewels, he waged relentless war against the Elves and their allies, igniting some of the most devastating conflicts in Middle-earth's history. Morgoth's forces erupted from Angband in a blaze of fire and fury, breaking the siege of Angband in a sudden and catastrophic attack. The once green plains of Ardgalen were consumed by flames, becoming the barren wasteland of Anfauglith. The overwhelming force of Morgoth's armies, led by the fearsome Balrogs, scattered the armies of the Noldor, and many of their great kingdoms fell. This battle marked a turning point in the First Age, where despair gripped the hearts of elves and men alike. Morgoth's tyranny was not only physical but also deeply psychological, as he twisted the elves into orcs and bent Lesser Maiar into his servants, the Balrogs. His reign sowed discord among the free peoples, fracturing alliances and spreading fear. Amidst this darkness, the tale of Beren and Luthien stands as a beacon of hope. Beren, a mortal man, and Luthien, the most beautiful of the elves, shared a love that transcended the boundaries of their worlds. Their story is one of courage and sacrifice, symbolizing the enduring power of love against the greatest evil. Driven by love, Beren embarked on an impossible quest to retrieve one of the Silmarils from Morgoth's crown. Luthien, refusing to be parted from Beren, accompanied him on this perilous journey. Through Luthien's enchantments and Beren's bravery, they infiltrated Angband and succeeded in cutting a Silmaril from Morgoth's crown. Though their victory came at great cost, their love and sacrifice resonated throughout Middle-earth, symbolizing the undying hope that could challenge even the darkest powers. Morgoth's reign culminated in the War of Wrath, where the Valar, along with the elves and men who remained faithful, launched a final assault on Angband. The battle shook the foundations of the world, resulting in Morgoth's ultimate defeat. The Valar assembled a vast host, including the armies of the Valar, Maiar, and Elves, to confront Morgoth. The War of Wrath was unlike any battle before it. The very earth trembled as the forces of light clashed with Morgoth's legions. His armies were utterly destroyed, and Morgoth himself, once the mightiest of the Ainur, was captured. As punishment, he was cast into the void, an endless abyss beyond the world, marking the end of the First Age. The First Age ended with the fall of Morgoth, but his dark legacy would continue to cast a shadow over Middle-earth, paving the way for the rise of his most faithful disciple, Sauron. With Morgoth's defeat, Middle-earth experienced a brief respite from the overwhelming darkness. However, the shadow of evil had not been entirely vanquished. Sauron, Morgoth's most loyal servant, survived his master's downfall and began to rise as the new Dark Lord of Middle-earth. Unlike Morgoth, Sauron sought dominion through deception and manipulation, offering the promise of power to ensnare his victims. Sauron's strategy for domination hinged on the creation of the Rings of Power. Disguised as Anatar, the Lord of Gifts, he presented himself as a benevolent figure, aiding the Elves in crafting powerful artifacts. Under his guidance, the elven smiths of Eregion, led by Celebrimbor, forged the Rings of Power, 3 for the Elves, 7 for the Dwarves, and 9 for men. These rings were intended to enhance their bearers' abilities, but were, in truth, instruments of Sauron's control. In secret, Sauron forged the One Ring in the fires of Mount Doom, a master ring that would bind the others to his will. However, the Elves, sensing his treachery, removed their rings, thwarting his initial attempt at domination. This discovery triggered the War of the Elves and Sauron, marking the beginning of Sauron's open campaign to subjugate Middle-earth. Sauron's ambition extended beyond Middle-earth to the island kingdom of Númenor. The Númenorians, powerful and wise, became increasingly proud and desirous of immortality, a weakness Sauron exploited. Allowing himself to be captured, he manipulated King Ar-Pharazôn, leading Númenor into darkness. Under Sauron's influence, Númenor turned away from the Valar, and the once great kingdom began to worship Morgoth. Sauron convinced Ar-Pharazôn to launch an assault on Valinor, an act of unspeakable hubris that led to Númenor's destruction. Though Sauron's physical form was destroyed in the cataclysm, his spirit endured, returning to Middle-earth with renewed determination to conquer. Back in Middle-earth, Sauron rebuilt his power, establishing the fortress of Barad-dûr in Mordor. From there, he waged war on the remaining free peoples, seeking to conquer all. His power seemed unstoppable until a final alliance of elves and men, led by Gil-galad and Elendil, formed to oppose him. The War of the Last Alliance was one of the most significant conflicts in Middle-earth. After a 7-year siege of Barad-dûr, Sauron himself entered the fray, wielding the full power of the One Ring. In a climactic confrontation, Isildur, Elendil's son, cut the One Ring from Sauron's hand, severing his connection to the physical world. Though Sauron's physical form was destroyed, the ring was not, ensuring that his spirit would endure, waiting for the time when he could reclaim the ring and restore his power. Sauron's influence began to grow again in the Third Age, as his spirit took refuge in Dol Guldur in southern Mirkwood, concealing his identity under the name the Necromancer. The White Council, led by Gandalf and other wise leaders, suspected a great evil in Dol Guldur, but it was only much later that they realized it was Sauron himself. During this time, Sauron sought the One Ring, knowing that without it, his power could never be fully restored. His servants, the Nazgûl, scoured Middle-earth for the ring, but it remained hidden, kept by the unassuming hobbit Bilbo Baggins. The final chapter of Sauron's story unfolds in The Lord of the Rings, where the fate of Middle-earth hinges on the destruction of the One Ring. Sauron, now at the height of his power, unleashed his forces in a massive war against the Free Peoples. His armies laid siege to Gondor and Rohan, culminating in the Battle of the Pelennor Fields. However, the true threat to Sauron lay in the quiet journey of a small group of heroes led by Frodo Baggins, the Ring-bearer. Tasked with the seemingly impossible mission of destroying the One Ring in the fires of Mount Doom, Frodo and his companions made their way into the heart of Mordor, pursued by Sauron's minions. In a desperate bid to distract Sauron, the armies of Gondor and Rohan marched on the Black Gate, giving Frodo a chance to complete his mission. In the final moments, as Frodo stood at the edge of the fiery chasm, the power of the ring nearly overcame him. But in a twist of fate, Gollum, once a bearer of the ring, attacked Frodo and inadvertently caused the ring to fall into the fire, destroying it. With the destruction of the One Ring, Sauron's power was utterly shattered. The Tower of Barad-dûr crumbled, the Eye of Sauron was extinguished, and his vast armies were left leaderless and scattered. Sauron himself was reduced to a powerless shadow, unable to ever take physical form again. His defeat marked the end of the Third Age and the beginning of a new era of peace in Middle-earth. With the fall of Morgoth and Sauron, Middle-earth didn't just return to normal, it became something new. You see, every time the darkness was defeated, the world changed and grew stronger. After Morgoth's defeat, new lands were discovered, and fresh kingdoms rose, stronger and wiser from the lessons of the past. The Elves sailed west, leaving behind a world for men to shape. When Sauron finally fell, Middle-earth didn't just breathe a sigh of relief, it thrived. Old alliances, like the bond between Gondor and Rohan, grew tighter. Even the Shire, which seemed so far from the chaos, stood as a reminder that no matter how big the evil, the small and unassuming can still make a huge difference. In the end, the legacy of the Dark Lords wasn't just one of fear, it was a story of resilience, of rebuilding. Middle-earth didn't crumble, it renewed. From every shadow they cast, the world found light again, ready for whatever came next. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy this type of content, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next one.